The LA Chargers and Jim Harbaugh are just different. And quietly, you're starting to see signs where the NFL's like, all right, this is going to be interesting. We better pay attention to the LA Chargers because overall, it was a relatively quiet offseason, boring from the outside, where free agent wise, you didn't do a whole lot, restructured some contracts, let Keenan Allen go, didn't really sign anybody. The draft was, I wouldn't say boring, but kind of, right? But it was the right way to approach free agency in the draft. But what's happened is you've put everybody on notice because of your coach, the mentality, and then the way things are going to be done going forward. So, how was this proven? Well, it was proven in what you saw in the schedule release. And we'll get to that in just a second. But if you're new, we're Detroit Lions fans. Our main channel is Sports Talk Detroit. But we have this channel talking all about Chargers because we like Jim Harbaugh. We live here in Michigan, and we're excited to see what he does with the Chargers. Okay, first thing is, I mean, just look at this guy. You're going to tell me that he's not going to know what the week one matchup is all about when you play the Raiders? I love that the NFL is like, all right, you know what? Let's just see here. Jim Harbaugh going against the Raiders. Now, remember, when he was at Stanford, he went and he knew rivalries. He knew what USC was all about. They were the king of the hill at the time. So it's kind of like not really the Raiders because the Raiders aren't that good, but it's still like, I want to beat our biggest rival and I want to do it now. He goes to Michigan. Remember, Urban Meyer was at Ohio State. Say what you want about Urban Meyer, but he had that thing just absolutely rolling. Juggernaut. I mean, juggernaut at Ohio State when Jim Harbaugh gets there. He goes toe to toe with them, ultimately loses the first 4 or 5 years, but I mean toe to toe with a juggernaut. And it was Brady Hoke's team that Jim Harbaugh took into Ohio State, went to overtime and lost on a bad call. Honestly, bad call, literally a bad call away from going and beating Ohio State. So, but then the last 3 years, humiliating them, running it right down their throat. So Jim Harbaugh, a former Charger, is going to go up against the Raiders in week one. And that's kind of where we're at here. Week 1 and 18 against the Raiders. NFL knows exactly what they're doing here on this. Remember, this is all very calculated stuff. It's not like, I don't know, maybe the Raiders. Love that. To me, that's a sign of respect and just like, yep, Chargers, you hate the Raiders. Let's go find out what you got for them. So I love that. Another thing, 3 primetime games. Again, to just look at what this team's roster looks like and the moves that were made this offseason, which, by the way, we've been on this channel many times saying we agree with the approach of the offseason. I'm not downplaying that. But what I'm saying is you didn't bring in any big acquisitions. There's no all this, this is a team that's in the middle or at the beginning of a rebuild, and yet you get 3 primetime games. Being a Lions fan, when we were in the same spot, 0 primetime games. I think our schedule was literally 1 o'clock game every single week, and it was almost weird because usually you got a 4:30 in there. You got no, not a single primetime game. You get 3 primetime games. And I love the matchups in the primetime games. So here it is. They play in Arizona week 7. Hello. Love that. Harbaugh Bowl week 12. I mean, come on. That's going to be legendary. That's going to be a weird one because Jim Harbaugh doesn't like playing his brother. It's very clear. He just doesn't like that. And that was kind of the one and only reservation coming back in the NFL was he was going to have to play his brother at some point. Not in the Super Bowl, which is good, but they were going to be like, they're going to come up against one another. So that was kind of let's just say he's going to treat that game a little bit differently than he's going to treat the Raider game for sure. And then the Chargers then travel to Kansas City for a Sunday night game, week 14. So talking about shaking up the NFL, the Chargers are going to absolutely play everything they got with the Raiders. But the Chiefs now are the team that has to be on notice more than anybody else because Jim Harbaugh goes after the biggest and the baddest team in his way and finds a way to beat them. Just gave you the examples earlier. USC, he did it when he was at the Niners. That team was bullying you around, physical, so physical. Now look out for the Chiefs to just get straight up. They're going to get the physicality that the Chiefs haven't seen from the Chargers. So that's going to be a really interesting and a big deal there. And I mean, as you look and kind of look around what the Chargers are talking about, they're talking about being physical. I mean, duh, right? But Junior Colson has said something like, whoever plays us, we're going to be hard to beat, and then you're probably going to lose the next week because you played us the week before and we were that physical. So it's really starting to come together now that you see the schedule and the opponents and who they're going to face. Now, some of the negatives from the schedule is really, you get it, right? I mean, being on the West Coast, when you travel, you always are coming east, but the Chargers travel distance-wise more than any team in the National Football League because they've got teams or games against Pittsburgh, Carolina. There's another one. I'm not seeing it. Did I say Carolina? Yeah. Pittsburgh, Carolina. So they're going to be coming to the East a lot more. So if you go, and let's take a look at this. And I kind of agreed. I found this article from Bolt Beat on game by game predictions for the Chargers. And I think, like I said, I agreed with this one. So we'll kind of go through this one. Week 1, home versus Vegas. Crowd is going to be there. I mean, this is going to be awesome. I agree with this. I think the Chargers win that. And, it's kind of a toss up game, really. But that first week, you don't know, a lot of emotions, but I love it. At Carolina. I mean, how about that, right? I agree with this. I think you go there and win. I think you go across the country. I think the whole thing, start 2-0. Like, let's go. At Pittsburgh, I agree with this that could be a loss, but also I really just don't know what to make of Russell Wilson. It's almost strange how bad he is. So never know. Kansas City, loss, fine. At Denver, win. I agree with that. So you look at his, you'd be 3-2, or no, 4-2. No, you'd be 3-2 because you had a bye in there. 3-2, going to Arizona. Okay, love all this. Another win. You know, if you look at this schedule, it's one of the easiest schedules, and no NFL schedule is easy. I'll make that clear, but it's easier than most. And New Orleans Saints, I mean, look at these last 2 games. Arizona, New Orleans, win. Cleveland, tough. That's a loss. Tennessee, I mean, they're not going to be good. That's a win. Cincinnati Bengals, loss. Joe Burrow could be hurt, though. Ravens, that's a loss. Falcons, that's a loss. At Kansas City, that's a loss. Tampa, I mean, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert. I mean, I could do a win there. Denver, I could do another win with a rookie quarterback. And New England, rookie quarterback win. And then Vegas at the end. I mean, just throw all the records out and just go for it. So I don't know if I went fast through it just at the end there, but I mean, there's 6 losses. It's like, oh man, 6 losses. That's 11-6. So I don't know, right? It's hard to say 11-6 at this point, but at the same time, it's easy to see where some victories could come. And there's a lot of teams on there with rookie quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, you have a better quarterback than almost every team that you play. Aside from Kansas City, you have a better quarterback, and Baltimore. But yeah, I love it. I love what the Chargers are doing. I can't wait to see them on the field. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.